Daf Lamed Ches Amud Aleph, right at the beginning, Amalei by first line from the top. Amalei by Rav Yosef, Hai Kuva Da'ara, bread that was made by inserting it in a hole in the ground. My Mivarchin Allah, what's the bracha that we make on it? Amalei Misav Nahamu, do you think that this is really considered bread? Guvla Ba'almahu, it's just dough. It's just batter, it's just dough, and it's dough that now is in a edible form, in a form of a hardened and is baked, but it's really considered dough. And therefore, it's not really considered bread. We don't make hamoitzi, it's not really considered lechem, we make him a zainas. Marzutra kavasud also of it. Marzutra ate a large quantity of it, and he made his meal. This was the basis of his meal. So even though essentially it's not bread, but it is mezainas that he now made his meal with, and therefore Baruch Hashem mitzalech min haaretz with shalosh brachos, and therefore the bracha rishona that he made was a maitzi, and the bracha achrona was benching, and this is the source of the halacha that we have, that if a person is kaveh, is suda on mezainas, on cake and those types of different types of mezainas, if he's kaveh suda and he eats a large enough quantity, then he actually makes a maitzi and he benches. Is therefore could be considered bread, and it can be yaitze his chiyuv of eating matzah on Pesach with, of course, when it's matzah, it's not chametz. But if it's made in this manner, he could be yoitze his chiyuv, the mitzvah of eating matzah. Some Rishonim speak out, however, it is only if he eats this type of a large quantity where he's kaveh suda. Only then can it be yoitze the mitzvah of matzah. Why is that? Because my time lechem karina bay. It's called lechem. It's called the lechem of a poor person. If you have honey from dates, you make a shahakal. The issue over here is that fruit juice from different fruit, if it's not from grapes and from a zayis, is it considered the fruit itself, or it's just considered the liquid that is from the fruit? It's a liquid extract of the fruit, but it's not considered the fruit itself. So Ravashi said, you make a shahakal. It's not considered the fruit. You only make a shahakal. My time is it's literally the sweat of the fruit. It's just a liquid, it's moisture from the fruit, but it's not considered the fruit itself. Kiman, who is this going like a high tana, like the following tana, Disnan, Dvash Tamorim, the honey from dates, V'yain Tapuchim, or apple cider, V'chaimetz Funiyos, or vinegar from unripe grapes, Ushar Me Paris, and other fruit juice, Shal Truma, if it's from Truma, and if a person eats truma, he has to pay compensation, Karen, the principal amount, and chaimish, and add on a fifth. However, if he eats this or drinks these items that where the fruit is truma, but he drinks the juice of it, Rabbi Elazar mechayiv keren v'chaimish. Rabbi Elazar says he is chayiv keren v'chaimish. It's considered like drinking or eating the fruit. Rabbi Yeshua pointed, and Rabbi Yeshua says it's potter because it's not considered the fruit itself. So this halacha legabe brachos that we say a shahakol, we don't consider the fruit itself, must be going like Rabbi Yeshua. What is the halacha legabe trima? The Rava Michael he didn't know what he meant. What does he mean by trima? Yosef Ravina Kami the Rav Amalei the Shumsha Kamrat, is it referring to sesame seeds, or the kurtama, or saffron kamrat, or the purtzane kamrat, or is he referring to the dates, to the grape seeds? So which is he referring to? So in the meantime, when he probed him and he questioned him on the various types, then he reminded himself what we're referring to. So now I reminded myself that what we're talking about is when it's crushed, when these items are crushed. And you reminded me of how that the dates of truma mutar lasos mem trima. it's mutter to crush them and make them into trima. It's also to be ma'abed, to destroy the fruit of truma. But crushing them is not considered destroying them. So it's mutter to crush the dates of truma. But you cannot make them into beer, because that's considered to have destroyed the fruit. Now, even though it's not destruction in the sense of it's going to waste, it's being processed into beer, but the fruit itself is not considered intact. So something which was a fruit of truma is now being destroyed, so to speak. It no longer exists. It's being processed into a different form, and that you're not allowed to do. But you see, I'll call upon him that crushing it, simply crushing it, does not make it lose its identity, and therefore for truma it's mutter, and therefore v'hilchasa tamri v'avdina trima b'varichan alei b'rei priyais, and therefore since it does not lose its identity, the similar, the bracha is intact, it retains the same bracha you make a b'rei priyais. My time will be misayo kaim mikora. It hasn't changed, it remains intact, and therefore, just like with the fruit before crushing is a eitz, after crushing it's also eitz. Shesisa, what is the bracha that you make on shesisa? What bracha do you make on shesisa, which Rashi says is a machal that's made out of wheat or barley, and you mix it together with the wheat seeds or barley seeds are dried in the oven, and when it's still moist, and it's mixed together with oil or sometimes with honey. It's mixed together with other ingredients, different shitas in the Rishonim, what it's mixed with. So she's a Rav Amar Shahak only a bidvor. You only make a Shahak, Shmuel Amar, Barimim Menazainis. You make a Mazainis on it. Amar of Chesta V'loi Plig, it's not a Machlekes, Haba Raka. It depends if it's a thick consistency or it's very liquid, it's a thin consistency. If it's made in a thick consistency, it's made to be eaten, and therefore it's a Machal, and you make a Mazainis. It's made with wheat or with barley and mixed together with other ingredients, you make a Mazainis. It's sort of like a cake. Raka, but if it's watery, it's a very thin consistency, it's not primarily made for a food. It's made for a refuah, for medicinal purposes. So its primary function is medicinal. Now, even though it has a good taste, but you would not make a mezainis on it because it's not really a food. You can stir it on Shabbos. This, like we said, it's a watery, liquidy consistency, and it has these different ingredients, so sometimes they settle, so you can stir it on Shabbos. And similarly, you can drink zeisum hamitzri. You can drink this ingredient, this mixture, which called zeisum hamitzri. Now, if you're telling me that when it's thin consistency, it's for refuah, so b'Shabbos mishore. So refuah b'Shabbos mishore, is it mutter to take medicine on Shabbos? It's not mutter to take medicine on Shabbos. Don't you also hold that in certain cases, under certain circumstances, you can have refuah on Shabbos? If it's a food that people would eat normally, you can eat that on Shabbos, even though it has medicinal properties. Any liquid shaisa, you can drink. So what are you saying? What would somebody looking at this say? He would say that the person is eating it because not for the medicinal properties, but for the benefit of food. And therefore it's mutter here as well, because the people looking will say, well, he's doing it not for medicine. Meaning, the Isser on this gzeira of all types of refuah on Shabbos is only something that it's muchach, it's clear that it's been done for refuah. But if it's not clear that it's been done for medicinal purposes, even though it might have medicinal benefits, it is mutter on Shabbos. Lishna achrina, a variation of what we just said. That the people looking will say he really wants to eat refuah. They'll acknowledge that there is a medicinal benefit, but they'll say his primary motive is for eating it, for the food. And I need to tell me both these halachas. If in the case of Shabbos, I would think You're telling me Lagavi Shabbos it's mutter because a person will say that the primary function is for food and not for refuah. But here, in our case over here, the person, he knows his motive, he's taking it for refuah. So you might think that since his motive is for benefit or medicine for refuah, so lo lebracha leklal, maybe you think he should not make any bracha. So even though his motive is for refuah, even though the reason he is taking is for refuah, and nevertheless, even a medicine, if it has a good taste, there's a benefit, there's a physical benefit beyond the refuah, it has a good taste, you do make a bracha. The bracha you make is, however, shahakol. The Mishnah continues and says that the bracha that we make on bread is hamaitzi lechem min haaretz. Bread has a special bracha. Bread is nishtana leiluya. It's been processed to a higher form and has a special bracha. So, what is the correct nusach of the bracha? How should it be said? Clearly, the bracha has to be mentioned. It has to reflect the past tense. That we thank Hashem who has brought this bread, has given us bread which was taken from the ground. So the proper connotation has to be the past tense. The question is, what word reflects the past tense? What's the correct nusach bracha? Ha-moitzi lechem min haaretz. It's with a hey, ha-moitzi. That reflects past tense. Rav Nechemia Omer, no, moitzi lechem min haaretz, without a hey. It's moitzi without a hey. Amar Rava b'moitzi. The word moitzi without a hey, kuli amar lo pligi da'apik mashma. Everyone agrees that that is correct, that's appropriate, because it's mashma, the connotation is the past. T'chsiv kel moitzi mitzrayim. As Bilam said, Hashem, who took them out of Mitzrayim, in the past tense, Hashem took Bnei Israel out of Mitzrayim. So everyone agrees that that is correct. Ki pligi b'ha moitzi. Is hey appropriate? Rabbanan savre hamoitzi da'apik masha. Rabbanan say hamoitzi also is correct. It reflects the past. T'chsiv hamoitzi l'chomayim mitzurach halamish, because it reflects the past tense that Moshe Rabbeinu said that Hashem took the water from the rock, and he's referring to an event that happened in the past. Rav Nechemia savar hamoitzi no dimapik mashma. And the Moitzi says, not in the past, it's in the future that will. Shenemra hamoitzi eschem mitach silus Mitzrayim. That this was before Klal Yisrael went out of Mitzrayim. And it says, hamoitzi eschem, who will take you out of Mitzrayim. So the hey is mashma in hamoitzi in the future tense. And therefore he holds, Rav Nechemia holds it's not appropriate. No, it also reflects the past. How so? They haven't gone out of Mitzrayim yet. So what the meaning is that when I take you out of Mitzrayim, I'll take you out of Mitzrayim. I'll make something special for you that you'll realize that I was the one who took you out of Mitzrayim in the past. I took you out of Mitzrayim. So you'll know that I was the one who took you out of Mitzrayim. So they said the hey is also appropriate. Mishtafchon Rabbanan l'Rozera as Barav Zvid, Achvad Rav Shimon Barav Zvid. They praised him, the Adam Godel. They said he's a great person, Baki Bebrachas, and he's an expert in brachas. Baki Bebrachas, he said to them, so when he comes here, bring him to me, I want to meet him. He came to that region, that town, and they brought him a piece of bread to eat. And he said the bracha maitzi, without a hey. Omar, so he said, this is the person upon whom they say that he is a Baki Bebrachos, he's a great person. We don't see any greatness here. This is the person Bishlami Omer Hamaitzi. If he had said Hamaitzi, I would have seen his expertise, because he would have said Hamaitzi Ashmina Taima Ashmina Rabbanan. I would have said and understood that he's now the time how he's explaining it, the pasuk, interpreting it, and interpreting like the Rabbanan, so that the connotation is in the past, and that the halach is like the Rabbanan. But by saying Maitzi, which everyone agrees to, he's not telling me any chiddush, and he's not with this. He's not reflecting any interpretation of the pasuk, this special interpretation of the pasuk that the Rabbanan are conveying. So what's the chiddush? Why did he do it that way? He did it to be Maitzi himself from a plukt. He did not want to be involved in the machloikus over here. He said a lashon that is acceptable to everyone. Ve'helchasa hamaitzi lech min haaretz, but the halacha is hamaitzi the kaim l'krabona damre da'apik mashma, that we say that we paskin that way. We say like the Rabbanon, and therefore hamaitzi is also mashma in the past. And Taisus points out va'afal pi da'maitzi kulmi on loy pligi da'apik mashma. And we say ha-moitzi Baruch Ato Hashem Elokeinu Melech ha-olam ha-moitzi. Now, why should we say ha-moitzi? If everyone agrees to a moitzi, l'chura, this would be correct to say moitzi. Why involve ourselves in something where Rav Nechemia holds it's not correct? So Yerushalmi Tosfos brings down, says we make a point of saying hamaitzi because we always want to enunciate the words in a way that they're not slurred together, they're not mumbled together, then they're clearly, each word is clearly enunciated. So by saying the hey, it gives a separation. Baruch Ato Hashem Elokeinu Melech ha'olam. Now, if we would say Melech ha'olam moitzi, the two mems would be together, and one might miss out and delete one of the oisius of the mem. So we say Melech ha'olam ha-moitzi, which separates between the mem of ha'olam and moitzi, and therefore we davka insert the lechem, the ois hey, to separate between the mems, and therefore the bracha on the bread on the lechem is hamaitzi lechem min haaretz.